Okay, today it's exercise 12. Okay, we will talk about a new technique. Okay, a new technique that can be used when drawing circles in perspective. Now, this technique will include basically a line of rotation that I will explain now and all its rules. It is a technique used mainly for freehand sketching. So, fast drawings without any measurements, just to express the idea. Now, until now, when we draw circles in perspective, what was the rule? You have to first draw the square in perspective, then apply the technique that I explained before, finding the 4 points, and then drawing the circle in perspective. However, sometimes while you draw, you don't have enough time to even do this. So when in the fast drawing, sketching, you don't have time sometimes to even draw all the squares in perspective and then add the circles. You need something, a more faster technique, okay? So the line of rotation technique is where this comes in hand. So now, let us see what is this line of rotation technique. It's basically a line, okay, that shows the rotation of the circle. Now, you know, anything you draw in perspective has a horizon line, okay? So, I put you here an example. This here in the middle, the line that passes through the centers of the circle is the line of rotation. And this is one circle, the same size circle, just placed in different locations. And as you can see, every time it looks different. Now notice something very specific about this. When you take a circle and you put it in perspective, it still has these two lines. It still has the two diameter lines, these, which the 4 points are located, okay? So, now if this circle have a specific size, and I take it and I put it in perspective, this is basically what its size is going to be, okay? This size here. And it will have a size in perspective. But there is this line here. That will always be shorter. So, when you have a circle in perspective, these two lines are never the same size. One of them is going to be the same. So, when you look at a circle from here, this line and this line is equal. But once I put it in perspective and I start moving it around, this line, this diameter will be the same, showing me the size. But this line, the other one, which is perpendicular to the long line, will become shorter. Now, how short? It depends where it's located. If I put the circle exactly on the line of vision, which is the horizon line, so I look at this circle exactly where my horizon line is, I will see just a line. You will not see any thickness to the circle. But once you start moving it down, this thickness will become more and more and more opened. The same thing will happen when you put it up, above the horizon. So the thickness of the other line will increase the more it goes away from our vision. Okay? So this is illustrated here. These two lines remain always perpendicular to each other at 90 degrees. And because this is the same circle, it has always the same size, just this line is different. Never in perspective, you will see these two equal, as I said. This one will always be shorter, even if it's a small amount, but it will be shorter, okay? Okay, now, the line of rotation passes through the center. Now, if we have just one circle, okay, and we have a line of rotation, there will be one circle, but I made you these for example to see how it will look like with many circles. So here, for example, we have many line of rotations. Do you see line of rotation, line of rotation? Excuse me, the curtains, close them. Close the curtains now. Thank you. So the line of rotations, here we see several line of rotations and one circle. Now here, the line of rotation is basically perpendicular to the horizon line. We said that the horizon line is always parallel to the ground, and we draw according to this. But sometimes, especially when you draw small objects, I'm not talking about interiors, heavy tables, this furniture, no. I'm talking about small objects. So I want to draw this bottle, this cup, for example, this cup, okay? So small handheld objects. Sometimes you need to draw them. For example, I want to show a detail from here. I will draw it. Then I want to show a detail from here, or from here I want to show a detail. So this, you can rotate it and draw it in many different ways. So you are not stuck with the horizon line and the ground line, everything to be parallel. No, this is for heavy objects and interiors, this kind of stuff, when you draw also buildings. But with handheld objects, I can rotate this anywhere I want to show the details, okay? So, this line of rotation, which was here straight, perpendicular, it can be anything really on the page. And this circle, which was here like this, now it can be in many different ways, okay? But there is a rule. There is a rule. This line of rotation and the long diagonal of the circle must always be at 90 degrees. So notice here, in these line of rotations, which are kind of all over the place, notice line of rotation, long side of the circle at 90 degrees. Line of rotation, long side of the circle, 90 degrees. It doesn't matter the size of the circle, but the long side must be at 90 degrees. So if we have a small circle here, for example, this is a smaller one, okay? The long side must still be at 90 degrees to the line of rotation. So, the line of rotation is drawn first, then the size of the circle is you want, the size of the circles, and the long side must always be at 90 degrees to this line. This way, when you draw quickly in perspective, circles especially, you know how this is tilted. Now the size, you choose it according to your sketch. And it doesn't have to be a measurement, it's proportions only, okay, when we draw fast. But how is it tilted? Look at this circle, it's tilted that way. This one is tilted this way. Every circle looks different depending on where is the line of rotation. So, these circles, its line of rotation is like this, okay? But once I have a line of rotation that comes this way, it means I'm drawing the object like this. I can draw it like this even, or like this, or like this. Anyhow, you can rotate it and draw it by first identifying the location of the line of rotation. This is it. Now, look here, I put here a very simple example also to understand it, not only with circles, but with an object, which is actually this cup. Okay? Now, there is a horizon line. If I put, this cup, this circle, because we have more than one circle. Look, we have an upper circle, we have a lower circle. So, for example, if the upper circle is exactly on the horizon line, we will see straight line. But the lower circle, we will see, it will have a thickness. Now, if we move this cup up, we will start seeing this circle. But this circle, look how it looks like. We will see this part, this will be hidden. Notice this element. Now, it moves back to the horizon. If it moves down, what will happen? We start seeing this part. So, this becomes the visible, and we can see inside. And this here, the bottom part, we see only the front part. The back one we will not see. So, really it depends the object, where is it located. So, what part you will see in which way, or how is it tilted? Now, when we draw objects using the line of rotation, you don't even need to specify, often you don't need to specify the horizon line location. Because as we said, this method, this technique, is for fast drawing. So, I want to draw this object like this, I draw a horizon, the line of rotation. Then I draw another line of rotation, another line of rotation, and I just very quickly draw the circles and identify the location of the other lines. Very quick drawing. Now, so this is one example. As you can see, we can see it from different rotations, this object. Of course, the horizon line is present, but you don't need always to identify it, to find the points. This slows you down in the drawing, in sketching, okay? So you don't need to identify. Once you identify this, the way the circles are tilted already, you know. If you apply the rule of the 90 degree, look at this object. This is a very simple car sketch. Now notice here, I started the traditional way with a square in perspective. Then I used division of the cube method to find, because I needed to know this space to be kind of more accurate. If I just draw a circle here and a circle here using the line of rotation, it will work. It will work. But this space will not be that correct. So I just divided the square just to make sure it has 3 size wheels in between. But if I want to draw without it, just very fast, I can just draw a line of rotation here, a line of rotation here somewhere, going to the vanishing point. So these 2 lines, notice they're going to a vanishing point, because now we have not one object, we have wheels, 4 set of wheels, 4 wheels that need to go all in one vanishing point. So this line and this line go to a vanishing point, then all of these lines, you see these lines, go to another vanishing point. Now, where they are located on the horizon line, I don't need to draw this. This is fast drawing, okay? So, line of rotation, what does it mean? The circle will look how? So if we have the line of rotation like this, and we have another one like this, for example. So I know that whatever circle I draw here must be at 90 degree to the line. Whatever circle I draw here must be at 90 degree. And then you can basically draw the circles. So whatever the line, you need to first identify the line of rotation and then the long part of the circle, and then you draw it. Then you are sure it will be correct in the drawing. So whether you use the square method that we described before, perfect, okay? Sometimes you need to draw very fast, you just put the line of rotations and you draw. Also okay, okay? If you want more accuracy, you apply the division of the cube method. If you need to find out spaces in between, proportion-wise, not as measurements, proportion-wise, understand the difference. So, both of these methods can be used. But if I don't put a line of rotation, just draw any circle in the space, I will not know how it's tilted. Is it like this, like this, like this, like this? We don't know. We don't know, okay? So this method is very useful in drawing, especially circles. Because if you make a mistake with the circle, even in a fast freehand drawing, the whole sketch looks very ugly if the circle is kind of tilted in a bad way. So if you have, again, a line of rotation, and the circles rotate like this, okay, according to the line of rotation. And then I draw a circle like this. So this here is not at 90 degree. There is something wrong. But if you don't put this line of rotation, you never know the circle, how it's going to be rotated, okay? So even if you don't apply the square method, okay, the square in perspective, at least the line of rotations must be always in the drawing to help you to draw correct. Now, okay, so let us draw something, you know, like to illustrate this method. So all of these are examples. I will draw another example. So what to draw? Like this object maybe? Okay, something simple of this type. So I want to draw it with different views, okay? So let's draw it. So I will select a line of rotation, for example. Now, what will happen if the line of rotation is like this, parallel to the ground? It will mean that the object is like this, laying down, okay? If it's straight, it will mean it's standing like this. Now, any other tilted line of rotation will mean the object is moving in other directions. And it depends, depending on the horizon. Are you looking it from like this, or are you looking it from like this direction? It will change the look. Okay. So, if the line of rotation is like this, okay? This is the line of rotation. Then we will start drawing the object. Now you can start with the long part of the circle. Like for example, I will draw this one like this, for example. Then there is another circle here. Then there is another circle somewhere here. I'm looking at the proportions only, not measurements. And then we have a longer part. Okay, we have another circle that comes here. Then we have a long part. This part here is equal to this circle. So I'm drawing basically the long part of the circle. Now, it depends. Where am I looking at? Down or above the horizon? This will change my drawing, okay? This I need to decide. So if it's from down a little bit, so I'm looking at it like this, we will draw the circle. Notice we're drawing the complete circle, the complete one, okay? To make sure it is smooth, it is perfect. Otherwise, if you just draw this side, I will know in the drawing that you made a shortcut, and it will not look good. You need to understand the entire circle, okay? After that, you can connect them. Now, so we can see this part is hidden. This part will be behind here, we will not see it. Then for example, okay? Now, please notice the things that we explain here, that when the circle comes closer and closer to the horizon line, wherever you decide this to be, this part will become shorter and shorter and shorter until it becomes a line, okay? Now, this object, if I want to draw it like this, now, I need to understand which of these circles is basically closer to the horizon line. So am I drawing it like this? Or, for example, am I drawing it like this? Then, if I draw it like this circle will be more opened. This will be closed. Sorry, this will be more closed, this will be more open, because they go away from us. Here, this one will be shorter, and as the circles go down, they will become more and more and more open. So, in this case, this will be shorter, then this one a little more open, a little more open, a little more open, until you go away from your line of vision. So it depends really where in the space you are drawing it. Then, because it's a sketch, you can look at it and say, okay, I don't like this, I want to change the design of it. So we can, for example, delete these lines here. For example, I want to put here another circle in the middle. Because sketching, this is how sketching goes. You draw something, you look at it, if you don't like it, you change. Now, for example, what can this happen? we can connect this with this, and it will become a new object. Again, we don't like it, we delete, we change, okay, like this way. And then we can draw it in another view, okay? Like this line of rotation go this way. The next time we draw it, we can draw it this way, okay? Or tilt it towards us, so the circles will be more open, do you see? Also, when you tilt it towards you, more and more, these circles will also be open. So it really depends. But you can experiment with this. So you need really to draw to find out, okay? It cannot be taught, because every location, every tilt will have a different shape. So, now, notice how all the circles, the long part is 90 degrees to this line of rotation. Very simple rule, but effective at the same time. So we can draw another object. I don't want to repeat the same one. So, for example, another object we can draw. How shall we draw this? Okay, let's see here. I will draw now an object that is basically somewhere above my horizon. So I will see this part more, like the cap here, above. Okay. So. Now, what I'm drawing, it's just a sketch, just whatever comes to my mind. It's nothing specific. Okay, what now here to put? Then we connect Now this one, I draw it as if, wait, let me put some more details here. Okay, so what did I do here? I draw an object which is above my horizon line, so I can see from the bottom part, and then notice how all these, this is what I'm seeing here. Here they're going downwards, okay? Here they're going up, which is logical, okay? If you put something above the horizon, you will see this as like this. When it goes down, it becomes like this. You need to look at objects at home and to learn from observation. So this is drawn from below a little bit, from below. So I'm looking at it like this, from above the horizon. The object is above, okay? So, for example, to show certain details in this area that we cannot see from here, then you can draw the same object, rotate it, okay, from another view. Again, it will look a little different. Now, for your homework, you need to do something very specific, okay? You must find a real object at home, real one, not picture, real, which you can touch, see, observe, learn from, okay? Real object that have circles. It's made out of circles. And you need to draw it in 3 different perspective views using the line of rotation, okay? So 3 lines of rotations, and you will draw this object in 3 different ways. But On the paper, it's the same object. So for example, if you put this circle of a specific size, the long part, no matter how you rotate, the long part will stay the same, but the other part will either open or close. So you need to be careful about the proportions. I don't want you to draw one object big, the other too small. They need to be the same size, just rotate it, okay? In three different views on the same paper. Like this, for example. Okay, this is an example. An object drawn in using three different lines of rotations. All the construction lines need to be on the paper. Every construction line, like always, needs to be on the paper, shown lightly. The object lines needs to be more heavy, so it stands out, as always, okay? Now, this is a perfect example of what I mean with the line work. The line work is excellent here, okay? Also, the student paid attention to all the circles, everything. It's a good job. So, at any point in the whatever you're drawing, there is a change in the circle. You need to identify it. Like here, for example, we have a circle. Here, for example, a circle. Here is another circle. This is the first. This is the end of it. Now, you don't need to draw here circle, circle, circle. No, just the start and the finish. Now, then the shape changes, the size changes. So you need to draw a circle here and connect. Then another size circle comes. You need to draw it, okay? So every time the size of the circles change, you need to identify them and then connect. Curves, straight lines, whatever, okay? So, this is one example. I will put them on the table, of course, for you to look at. This is another example here. Here we have more examples. Now, please notice on objects that are opened, like this is a cup, like this cup, it's opened here. Every object that you draw that is opened have a thickness. So if I draw, for example, a cup, this is very important in the drawing. Our line of rotation is like this, for example, and then we have a cup, okay? Okay, now, if you leave this part just as a line, it's not good. It doesn't show realistic the object. Every material have a thickness, okay? So, you need to identify the thickness of it. Even if it's just half millimeter, 1 millimeter, and this is a sketch, so it doesn't have to be 100%, spot on. But you need to put a thickness. Now look, it looks much more realistic now, okay, as a cup. So, the student did it well. It have thicknesses here, okay? And now, also other objects, we have a lot here, okay? Other objects, other ones. Some have details a lot, some have less details. Now, I'm going to look for several things. The cleanliness, as usual, of the drawing. The accuracy of application of the method. So did you apply it correct? Did you draw the circles correct? And I will look also about the level of detail. So, if you choose a very simple object and you draw it, it's not going to get the same mark like another student who did it correct and well with more details, more difficult object. So don't expect that, oh, okay, I know how to draw a cup, I will get a full mark. No, you won't. You won't, okay? Detailed objects, difficult objects, and drawn correctly will get a better mark. Okay? More easy ones will not get a full mark. So, application of the method, correct? Level of difficulty of the drawing, cleanliness, everything what I need is on the paper, construction lines, line of rotations, all of these things. Okay? Application of the thicknesses of the lines, which lines to be thick, which lines to be thin. Okay, all of this will affect. And this is not for this exercise, for all actually. Okay? Applied. So, this this is basically what this method is all about, and it's very versatile. You can use it in a lot of drawings, especially freehand drawings. Okay, very useful. And thank you. This is it basically.